Om Namo Narayana, Jai Swami Narayan, Namaste, welcome back. We are reading today the Ramayana. Today we're in chapters 27 and 28. Chapter 27 is called Sita Requests Rama to Take Her to the Forest. Hearing all this, the sweet-talking daughter of Janaka, who merits to be loved, became angry with her husband due to love, and said, "Why are you talking like this, Rama? O son of the king, people would ridicule you for these light-hearted words spoken to me. Oh, my husband, the mother, father, brother, son, and daughter-in-law would receive things according to the blessed deeds done by them, and would experience prosperity according to their own fate only. But wife alone shares the fate of her husband, and therefore, if you are going to live in the forest, I would live there also. In this world and in the next, husband alone is the refuge of a lady, and not her father, son, her own soul, her mother, or her friends. O Rama, now itself I will accompany you, even if you are going to the very dense and harsh forest, walking in front of you, crushing the thorns as well as the kusa grass, and make the way comfortable for you to walk. O valorous one, anger and hatred which have arisen due to your banishment are like water left over in the drinking pot after you drink, and should be thrown out without hesitation, and not taking me with you is a sin. A woman in all the stages of her life would prefer to live in the shadow of her husband instead of living in palaces and mansions or wandering the path of the sky. My mother and father have taught me about the duties that I have to perform under the different circumstances, and so I need not be taught about them now. I will also go to the impassable forest, which has bees, deserted by men, but teeming with various types of animals, including tigers and other wild beasts. I would live happily in the forest, considering it as the home of my father, without thinking of the three worlds, but thinking only of my virtue as a wife. O valorous one, I shall observe the vow of celibacy, do services to you, and wander along with you in the honey-scented forest. O Rama, you are capable of protecting everyone in the forest, and what is the need to doubt about me? O great one, without any doubt whatsoever, I shall go with you today to the forest, and no power can prevent me from doing it. I would live with you, without causing any sorrow to you, and would live by eating fruits as well as roots. I would like to see the rivers, mountains, and lakes, and I shall have no fear in the company of the very powerful you. I would like to be comfortably in the company of yourself, who is a great warrior. I'd like to see lakes filled with swans, and water cranes, and ponds filled with fully open lotus flowers. Observing penance daily, and taking a bath anointing myself in those lotus ponds, I will be living with you, giving you great happiness. I am of the opinion that if I live like that with you 1,000 years, or even 100,000 years, I shall not feel any problems, and thus would prefer that life to that of living in heaven. O Rama, a life in heaven without your company would not interest me. I would go along with you to the impassable forest filled with monkeys as well as elephants, and live there like it is the home of my father, and live a disciplined life, taking your feet as my refuge. Since I am not having any other thought except love towards you, if I live away from you, I would definitely die, and so you please take me along with you, and I would never become a burden to you." Though she was talking like this to the lover of Dharma, the prince was not prepared to take her with her, and he talked about the very many problems of life in the forest to dissuade her. And thus ends chapter 27. Chapter 28 is called Rama's Advice to Sita. That expert in Dharma, who liked Dharma, spoke to Sita, thinking about the difficulties in the forest, and not willing to take her there. That soul of Dharma, seeing her eyes made dirty by the copious tears, having consoled her, told her the following to dissuade her again. "O Sita, You belong to a very noble family, and you are engaged in duties protecting Dharma. If you practice your ritualistic Dharma staying here, I would be happy. Oh, Sita, weak lady, please do as I tell you. There are many problems in the forest, and I shall tell you about them, and so please listen. Leave out the idea of living in the forest from your brain. It is impenetrable and has many great hardships. I am telling you these words with your welfare in my mind. I do not know that it is full of pleasures, but it is full of a lot of sufferings. It is fearful and a source of pain to hear the sound of water falling from a mountain along with the roar of a lion from within a cave. Mad animals moving about freely in deserted places in the forest would attack men on seeing them. Oh, Sita, this is a great source of danger. The rivers are filled with mud and infested with crocodiles, and they are difficult to be crossed by even a mad elephant, and such things make life in the forest dangerous. With places with no water, and pathways covered with creepers having thorns, echoing with the sounds of waterfowls, make life in the forest very dangerous. You will sleep when you are exhausted on a bed of leaves spread on the self-broken earth, and these make life in the forest very dangerous. Oh, Sita, after restraining ourselves at night, we have to get satisfied by eating fruits falling from the trees, and these also make life very dangerous. Sometimes we will have to fast due to the non-availability of food, and we have to wear heavy matted hair and also wear a dress made of bark. We have to worship devas and manes as per prescribed rituals and hospitably receive and treat guests arriving unexpectedly. We have to wander in the forest observing prescribed rituals and take a bath 3 times a day, and this makes life in the forest very difficult. Oh, young girl, you will have to make offerings with flowers which are collected by your own hands, according to the rules of the learned, and this makes life in the forest very difficult. The people who live in the forest should be satisfied with whatever food they get there, and this becomes our happy duty, but yet it makes life difficult. Wind and darkness are extremely great in the forest, and daily there will be great hunger as well as fear. And again, this makes life difficult. Oh, pretty lady, various types of reptiles crawl on the ground of the forest, and this makes the forest very dangerous. The serpents which live in the rivers move crookedly like rivers and obstruct our path, and it is very dangerous. Frail lady, butterflies, scorpions, insects, mosquitoes, and flies would trouble us daily and make things very dangerous for us. With thorny trees with their branches interlaced on the top, and kusa grass and reeds below, our way will be obstructed, and this will make things difficult. Those who live in the forest suffer various illnesses and fears of various types, and this makes life in the forest so very difficult. Therefore, forest life is not suitable to you, and so you are not going to the forest. And when I rethink it, I actually find more problems in my mind. Giving up anger and avarice and doing activities like a sage, with the mind not being scared in scary situations, makes life in the forest so difficult. Therefore, forest life is not suitable to you, and so you are not going to the forest. And when I rethink it, I actually find many more problems in my mind. When the great Rama took a negative decision regarding taking her to the forest, and did not follow the words of Sita with great sorrow, she spoke to him again. And thus ends Chapter 28. Yes, there is probably many, many more problems with living in the forest. I think of holy men and sages who we often picture in our heads living in the forests of India and living on the earth, and they've gotten away from society. But if you think about them, or anyways today, it seems like most of them didn't really get that far from the society. You get folks like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, but yet he lived near a river and he interacted with people, and there was always people there. Or even these famous, I don't know their proper name, the aesthetics who like are cannibals and they do drugs and they live in the dirt and the dung piles. They're not far from civilization. Rama is talking about going far from civilization in an unchecked wilderness that was way more unchecked than it is today. Even 200 years ago, I've read about Swami Narayan living in Gujarat, India, and it was dangerous 200 years ago. These forests were very much untamed. So I think it might be easy to picture the forest as being a little more glamorous than it really is, or picturing people today who don't quite live in the forest. Times have changed so much. I remember my mom saying they would often not visit their relatives who were, let's see, 4, 5, 6, maybe less than 20 miles away, because in the 1950s, her dad's car to go 20 miles, that was a lot, and it took a while. Times have changed and we forget this. I always think of Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of the Christian Science Church. There is a letter in her archives which was written when she was 16 or a teenager at some point, to a friend of hers, and she's like, I will never see you again. Have a good life. Enjoy the world. Yada, yada, yada. All those, nice things you would say to a friend who you're leaving. She was going 30 miles away. That was it. My parents live 30 miles away. I could call them right now. They'll be here in a half hour. But for Mary Baker Eddy, 30 miles was like, I will never see you again. I am on the other side of the world. So for Rama and Sita to go into the forest, untamed, far away, it is tough. It is tough. Well, that's just some random thoughts I had. We'll continue this. Thank you for watching. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Swaminarayan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.